Hey everybody, we're back here on the stage show, and we're about to have a look at Ratchet and Clank All for One. I've got Chad Dezern here from Insomniac, North Carolina, the newly minted offshoot of Insomniac, and you guys are working on a new game. It's a familiar franchise, but it's a different take on it, right?
That's right. Yeah, you know, we set out to make the first fully cooperative, from the ground up Ratchet and Clank game.
All right, so Ratchet and Clank All for One, we've actually got a demo of it running right here. So Chad, if you wouldn't mind giving people a basic setup of what's happening here, who's this hideous alien beast that just jumped across the screen, and what's our team of four about to do?
Right, so right now we're in Lunapolis City, which is on planet Igliak. And what's happened is that Dr. Nefarious has unleashed a creature to kill Captain Quark once and for all. You know, the two of them just hate each other. But his plan has gone horribly awry, and now this creature called the Groot is running rampant through Luminopolis. So our four main characters, of course, Ratchet, Clank, Quark, and Nefarious, are kind of forced together to fight through the city and kind of stop this rampaging creature.
All right, now these four guys, Ratchet, Clank, Nefarious, Quark, they all have wildly different abilities. How do you go about making sure that these are all harmonizing together into this co-op experience?
Well, you know, the thing is, they hate each other throughout the game.
Yeah.
You know, they're at each other's throats constantly. And, you know, a lot of the reason we made that choice was because that's really how we play the game in the office. I mean, the game is cooperative at its core, and we incentivize co-op above everything else. But we also have this competitive layer on top of that. So we encourage a certain amount of, I guess, playful griefing, playful messing with your friends, and you know, you're competing for balls as you play. Like I can see right now, Captain Quark is in the lead with the best ball count. You know, Captain Quark, at the end of this segment, is going to have dibs on the best weapons first.
Oh, okay.
He's going to have bragging rights, and that's all for putting the smackdown on your teammates just a little bit.
Is Quark always wearing that snappy suit throughout the game?
You know, as part of the story, and by the way, this continues the story from Crack in Time, that's then continued with the comics. Quark is now Galactic President Quark, so which is the most horrible thing that could happen to the galaxy, because he's an idiot. But in the first level, he's still very much President Quark, so he's got the suit. He transitions to his, you know, famous like green Quark suit a little later on in the game.
Okay, makes sense. So, Luminopolis here, how does this compare with some of the other environments that players are going to encounter in the game?
Sure, well, you know, this is the first level, so it's kind of a training level in a lot of ways, but really the common thread between this and other locations is that it's story-driven, it's event-driven. So when we sat down to start brainstorming for the game, we thought about big events that we wanted to get in front of players, and then we structured the rest of the game around that. So as you're playing through, you know, it's this grand backdrop with big events with a Groot playing behind you. You're learning core mechanics, you're kind of learning the basics of working together and cooperating with the team, but you're also getting little moments of story and you know, other little moments of you know, kind of nods to previous Ratchet games as you play through.
All right, Chad, we're getting a lot of audience questions coming in. The first one comes from Daniel in Russia, who's wondering how the single player is going to work in this game.
Sure, the single player is first very much there. You know, the game is for any configuration of players 1 to 4. And in the single-player game, you play as Ratchet, and you have an AI Clank, who is also your backpack as you play through. So that Clank can dynamically jump on your back to get, you know, a fairly traditional, like Ratchet-type setup. But at times when you need help, he jumps off. And we've worked hard to make an AI Clank that is legitimately helpful. You know, not like a bad or, you know, stupid AI, but, you know, like a real companion who you want to have there with you during combat.
All right. Amir from Cairo, who I think has been watching basically all of our coverage and has submitted about 75% of our questions.
Awesome.
He's wondering, any special moves for each character?
Yes, each character has their own unique weapon as part of their arsenal. And these unique weapons are very powerful because they let you change the course of a battle. So I can talk about what those are a little bit. Ratchet can throw out a decoy and turret that draws enemy fire. Clank can slow down time, which has always been part of his Zony heritage. Captain Quark can make a powerful shield that can extend to protect his friends. And Dr. Nefarious, you know, because he's a sneaky, you know, evil weasel, can like turn invisible and, you know, sneak behind enemies to deliver a killing blow. So, you know, these are all special, unique things that are tied into each character, and they really let you feel special, and they kind of give you a reason to choose one character over another for your play style.
Let's see. Henrik Mortensen from Norway is wondering, without spoiling the story, why is Dr. Nefarious working with Ratchet? Has he become a good guy?
Sure, no. Dr. Nefarious is most assuredly not a good guy in this game. He's evil to the core. He's backstabbing, and you have to watch him every single minute. And in fact, he's only in this situation because he wants to save his own skin.
Okay.
But every minute during the story, he's really looking for a way to kind of do in Ratchet and Clank and Quark. And if his evil shrivel heart warms up to the rest of the team at all, it's only in the most subtle ways.
Nice. Let's see. Mario Master from Oregon is wondering, will All for One include mini games like previous titles, and will players have to work together to complete them?
Sure. Well, we don't exactly call them mini games. However, there is a ton of variety in the gameplay. So, as you've seen in the Lunapolis demo, players work together to pilot a taxi through, a crowded, traffic-filled city street. And every single time we introduce a vehicle in the game, it is a co-op vehicle. But, we have a number of highly democratic co-op vehicles where everybody has a role to play to keep moving through the world. And the short answer is yes. We have a ton of variety and things that you get to do together. A lot of them that we haven't revealed yet, and a lot of them are unexpected. I'm sorry, what was the second part of that question?
I already forgot.
Oh,
I've been looking through some of these other questions. Actually, no. The second part of that question is how teamwork works in those.
Right.
Parts.
So yes. With all of those, you're working together. There are moments where we're completely rewarding cooperative play, and you actually earn points for working together, and those points are tallied up, and you can trade them in for bolts at the end of each segment. So what we get is, there's sort of an incentive for the group to work together, so everybody can collectively experience like a better weapon arsenal together as you play through the game.
All right. Let's see. Jessica Yonker from Nashville is wondering, what happens when somebody dies?
When somebody dies, so if you die during traversal, there's a little bit of a penalty. We want you to play the game well, but at the same time, we don't want you to be locked out for playing for too long.
Right.
So you respawn fairly quickly to join the rest of the team, but you lose a few bolts in the process. So yeah, a little bit of discouraging, but it's not a really harsh penalty. If you go down in the middle of combat, we have a revive mechanic. So in those moments, your teammates can work together to pull you back into combat by waking you back up and reviving you.
Let's see. T-Sub96 from California is wondering, how does this game control? And maybe to elaborate on that, how do the controls compare to previous games?
Sure. For this game, we definitely started out with a foundation of Ratchet controls. So your familiar jumps, your familiar wrench swing, or melee move for the other character, even your melee throw, that's all where you expect it to be. And if you've played Ratchet games before, you can pick up the controller and start going. At the same time, we've done a few things to make it a little more streamlined for the camera style and for cooperative play. So we now have a tether on the triangle that's called a hook shot. That's accessible anytime, and that lets you catch up to the rest of the players really quickly, so you never lag too far behind in battle. Second, we have a sprint now. So that comes in really handy for competitive bolt collection. Actually, Clank is just sprinting around right now. You can move quickly to bolts and crates and pick them up before your teammates do.
A lot of people are wondering about weapon customization.
Sure. Working weapon.
Weapon customization?
Weapon customization. Well, we think that weapons are a huge part of the Ratchet series, probably the most important part. And we've structured the whole game around, building them up, around purchasing them and upgrading them. So, we have a big weapon arsenal, and as you play through the game, you upgrade them, both in straightforward ways, like better rate of fire, more damage, and also in functional ways. So, as in previous Ratchet games, when you get to the ultimate upgrade, you get a really powerful weapon. Another thing to mention about the weapons in All for One is that we've made them all about co-op play as well. So, you can see right now, players are using something called the co-op overload with their combustor. That's a base model blaster, but if you target the same thing, if you use it all together at the same time, you get a big damage bonus and a rate of fire increase as you play through together. And actually what we found is that doing that, with its accompanying effects and sounds, is really quite addictive. You really get into the flow of working with weapons together with the team and kind of taking big enemies out with the same weapon equipped.
All right. Alex from Texas is wondering, in terms of multiplayer, how do the configurations work for online and local? What are the different possibilities there?
Sure. So we've made a game from the ground up that's easy to jump in and play with any configuration of players. So we support couch co-op. You know, if you're together at home with your friends, you can all jump in and play that way.
Okay, so 4-player local is...
4-player local is supported. Any number of 1 to 4 local. Also, any number online. You know, four people in completely different locations can play together, and we also support mix and matching. So you can have 2 people in one place and 2 people in another. The game will work just fine. You know, also, if you start by yourself with a single-player game and a friend wants to jump in, we let you do that. We really just want to make it easy to pick up the controller and jump into a game with whoever's around and start playing.
All right. You know, when you said there's a lot of variety in this game, you definitely weren't kidding. Like, every time I look at an email and then glance back at the screen, there's just a completely different color palette, a completely different gameplay type,
Sure.
and it's like, it's hard to keep track of like where you are in this game. It's definitely, you know, you weren't lying when you said it's varied.
Well, thanks a lot, man. It's good to hear that.
Brandon from Maryland is wondering about PlayStation Move support.
We're not supporting PlayStation Move with this game. However, it is fully 3D supported. So if you have a 3D TV and glasses, you can jump into the 3D game, which actually works really well with this camera type. It's a cool experience to play the game in 3D.
All right, let's see what other sorts of questions we've got coming our way. Let's see. Devin from BC, Canada is wondering, when you're playing online, does it support voice chat?
Voice chat is supported, absolutely, yeah. We wouldn't do it any other way.
Amir Mohsen from Cairo would just like to thank us for keeping up with him and allowing us to give him an outlet for all his questions. I guess we're basically more or less out of time, Chad. I know that we just threw a gauntlet of questions your way. Anything else you'd like to add before we go?
No, I just want to say that, you know, we developed this game because we've wanted to make a co-op Ratchet and Clank game that was built for co-op for the longest time in the studio, and we play this game in the office every day. We have tournaments at this point. You know, we're hyper competitive, and we've just had a blast developing this game and playing it, and we're all really looking forward to getting it into players' hands.
All right, excellent. And when are players actually going to be able to play it? When's the game going to be out in stores?
We're out October 18th.
October 18th. Chad, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thanks a lot.
All right, everybody, so there you have it. That was your look at Ratchet and Clank All for One, and now we're going to see what else Homer is getting up to here on the show floor.